faces. Once
Shabbat.
again, we encourage you to go into gallery view if you're able. We'd love to see your face or faces during this time. So once again, it's great to see everybody. This is our 21st service away from the building, but we gather as a community each week and feel the warmth of each other's presence, even as we're spread out all over the globe. But here we are to celebrate Shabbat. Once again, we encourage you to put your view in gallery view, probably on the top right, so you can see one another. And there are times in the service we'll invite you to contribute in the chat room, which for many of you is at the bottom of the screen. And once again, one of the challenges of Zoom, it's beautiful that it can bring us together in unique ways, but it doesn't allow more than one person or one box, one pod to speak at a time. So everyone's muted until the end of the service, but we hope you'll pray along with us with the words that are either found on the screen or simply listen and hum along and be present as we welcome Shabbat together. So let's join with Cantor Zell in a nigun, and we'll just kind of anchor ourselves and set ourselves in place. Thank you, Cantor, for anchoring us. Let us wish each other Shabbat Shalom with a heart tap or a wave, just so that we can see each other's presence in the room. Rabbi Sapphire will be delivering the sermon this evening, but before we begin, I did want to share a brief word of Torah, especially because today we lost a really great rabbi in the world by the name of Adin Steinsaltz. Rabbi Steinsaltz was the man who translated the Talmud into English in the 1990s. Some of you may remember when the translation first came out. He then provided an English commentary so that millions of Jews all over the world could access this ancient book of Jewish wisdom. And so they once asked Rabbi Steinsaltz, why did he spend so many hours on the Talmud? Why on a book that largely contains arcane and totally irrelevant debates? And Rabbi Steinsaltz said something really important that I'd like us to focus on this evening. He said that he translated the Talmud exactly because it's filled with arcane and largely irrelevant debates. He explained it this way. He said, you see, in Judaism, unlike society, we don't learn just to solve a specific need or answer a particular problem. All of education should not be practical or intended to be relevant. Rather, in Judaism, we study as a practice to cultivate curiosity, something that we human beings too often lose as we move from childhood to maturity. In the summer especially, you might see kids who are just curious, turning over rocks just to be surprised to see what is underneath them. And so Steinsaltz's gift was to remind us to be curious, to turn over rocks, to ask questions, no matter how old we are, to learn and learn and learn each week, each day, and explore life's purpose. Ask who we are, ask why we're here. We are the inheritors of an extraordinary tradition, and Rabbi Steinsaltz helped us uncover many of its secrets. And so with his memory in mind, I ask us to open ourselves up to that sense of curiosity of ourselves, of the world. And so let us take a deep breath, separate ourselves from the busyness, the relevant, the practical, and begin to explore the sacred. And before our candle lighting, I'm so thrilled that once again in this musical congregation, Zoom has allowed us to incorporate the voices of members of our community, even if we're in different places. And so if the Scholl family will once again anchor us with these words from what is now our musical tradition as we prepare for Shabbat. So if you have candles in front of you, we invite you to light them. We'll return our screens into gallery view and begin with the candle blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
So now we continue with the words of Shalom Aleichem. And Ryan, one day people will physically get to meet you, but for now we continue welcoming our new rabbinic intern, Ryan Lesner, who will lead us in the words of Shalom Aleichem. Let us continue to welcome Shabbat.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Uboachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu ni l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu ni l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Osechem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ya 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 na 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 ya na ya na na ya na na ya na ya na ya ya na na ya na 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 ya na ya na ya na na
Continuing with Lachadodi.
Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad Hishmi'anu el ha'meyuchad Adonai echad U'shemo echad L'shem ultiferet v'li tehila Lechadodi Likrat Kala Enei Shabbat Ekabela Lechadodi Likrat Kala Enei Shabbat Nekabela Likrat Shabbat Lechuven Elcha Ki hi Mekor Haveracha Merosh Mikedem Nesucha Sof Maaseh B'machshava tchila Lechadodi in body or spirit, we invite you to rise to greet the Sabbath bride. Boi v'shalom, ateret bala, gam b'simcha u'v'tzola, toch emunei hamzegula, boi chala, boi chala. Olecha dodi likrat kala, opnei Shabbat nekabela. Olecha dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Pnei Shabbat nekabela.
Join together in words of Shema.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
Let us join together in a prayer for hope. We are frightened, God, worried for our loved ones, worried for our world. Helpless and confused, we turn to you, seeking comfort, faith, and hope. Teach us, God, to turn our panic into patience and our fear into acts of kindness and support. Our strong must watch out for our weak, our young must take care of our old. Help each one of us to do our part to halt the spread of this virus. Send strength and courage to the doctors and nurses in the front lines of this battle. Fortify them with the full force of their healing powers. Send wisdom and insight to the scientists working day and night across the world to discover healing treatments. Bless their efforts, God. Fill our leaders with the wisdom and the courage to choose wisely and act quickly. Help us, God, to see that we are one world, one people who will rise above this pandemic together. Send us health, God. Watch over us. Grace us with your love. Bless us with your healing light. Hear us, God. Heal us, God. Amen.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkivenu, Leshalom. Ve'ha'amidenu, Shomreinu L'chaim. Shabbat shlomecha, hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu, hashkivenu, leshalom. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
There's a great deal in our Torah portion this week that speaks of love and gratitude. And so I invite you, as we prepare for our silent reflection, our Amidah, to think of a moment of gratitude to someone else, for yourself, or to God, and perhaps the way that you express that gratitude with love. And so as we do so, I invite, if you're able in body or spirit, to rise as we open up our Amidah, our reflection, asking God for the possibility to pray. So Ryan, we'd love to hear the intention that you have in your music, but you are muted.
How about now?
Perfect.
Perfect. Let's all join together. I need some help. Ya na 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 na, 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 ya na 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 na. Adonai Zefatai Tiftach Ufi Agim Tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Ya-na-na-na-na, 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 ya-na-na-na-na.
If you're still offering your prayers, I invite you to do so. But we'll also offer a collective prayer for courage and strength. And so let us join together. Holy One of blessing, grant us the will to stand firm in the face of evil and hostility, not to be silent or afraid, to work diligently and faithfully to banish wickedness from the earth. Holy One of blessing, grant us the courage and resolve to speak when there is hatred, to act when there is confusion, to join with others in building a world of safety, understanding, and acceptance. Because there is hate, dear God, help us heal our fractured and broken world. Because there is fear, dear God, grant courage and faith to those in need. Because there is pain, dear God, bring healing to the shattered and wounded. Because there is hope, dear God, teach us to be a force for justice and kindness. Because there is love, dear God, Help us to be a beacon of light and compassion. As it is written, be strong and let your heart have courage. Depart from evil, do good, seek peace, and pursue it.
It's with great pleasure that we bring in even more musical members of our talented community. So I've asked my dear friends and members, Talia and Alex Bloom, to lead us tonight in our prayer for peace.
Ose shalom v'nroma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Ose shalom v'nroma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu.
Ose shalom miromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu.
Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'ako Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'ako Yisrael. Ose shalom bin romav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Ose shalom bin romav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu.
Ose shalom miromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu.
Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'ako Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'ako Yisrael.
Yasher Koach, beautifully done. We continue now with the words of Misha Berach, our prayer for healing. And as we've done each Friday night, we're going to open up the chat room now and invite you to be able to type in the names of those individuals you're thinking of in need of healing of body, of mind, of soul. And then I invite you as well to place your view back into gallery view so that you can see members of our community as we gather together as one and pray for healing.
Yisheberach avoteinu mekor habracha leimoteinu. May the source of strength who blessed the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Yisheberach imoteinu mekor habracha lavoteinu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Of course, each week we also give thanks to God for those sacred moments in life that we've shared. And so I want to begin with anyone who has welcomed new life into the life of their family. And I want to acknowledge Mark and Cheryl Parachoki, who welcomed a new granddaughter to the world this week. So raise your hand if you've welcomed new life into your family. We celebrate with you. How about birthdays? If you'll raise your hand, or so that we can see you in our community and celebrate. Happy birthday, everyone. How about anniversaries? Any anniversaries? How about healing, feeling better, post-surgery? I know there are many people who had surgery recently, and it's good to see you on the screen. How about someone who experienced Curious Mind this week and just explored something new, whether it be a new book, a new walk, a new place, a new friend, a new Zoom room? I see some hands being raised there as well. Well, each week we acknowledge these moments. We encourage you to email them to us as well. Let us give thanks to God for the sacred moments in life we have shared, especially those new moments, those first time moments with words of Shehechianu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
So before Rabbi Sapphire speaks, I just had a moment to pass through some of the screens. And I just want to say, not only is it good to see people who have been with us for all 21 straight weeks, but I'm seeing a lot of new faces from all around the country. I'm seeing members of TBE who moved away years ago. I'm seeing college students who have returned home or are on Zoom. I just want to say how good it is to welcome you back to our community. Let us learn together. Rabbi.
Thank you, Rabbi. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. On Sunday afternoon, I was glued to the NASA live stream, awaiting the re-entry of the SpaceX Dragon spacecraft. It was the first time that a commercial aerospace company carried humans into Earth's orbit and docked at the International Space Station. I couldn't turn away from the live coverage. I even roped my kids into watching it with me. We waited in anticipation of glimpsing the capsule break through the atmosphere, said a little prayer when the command center expectedly lost communication with the astronauts for 6 minutes while their capsule endured the extreme heat of re-entry, and held our breath until it splashed down in the Gulf of Mexico. After all that, barely being able to stand it anymore, we waited even longer until the two astronauts, Doug Hurley and Bob Behnken, were lifted out of the spacecraft onto a recovery ship, and the cameras caught a glimpse of them for the first time. Even though watching this entire experience made my heart race and filled me with great wonder, I could barely fathom what they had just accomplished. Every space launch and return is completely fascinating to me, and I remember growing up with the American pride and wonder of watching our space program grow and succeed over the decades. But there was some gravitational pull that drew me to these two astronauts, Doug and Bob, both fathers of young children, nicknamed the Space Dads. As the news coverage continued, the reporters kept referring to Doug and Bob as test pilots. At first, The sound of that rubbed me completely the wrong way. Test pilots? These are astronauts, I thought. Air Force colonels and Marine fighter pilots, men who have trained decades under the harshest conditions. They've rocketed other missions and logged hundreds of hours in space. They are engineers, brilliant and brave men. Test pilots? And then I realized that this was meant to be a compliment and an honor of the highest degree. For a test pilot is someone who is given the responsibility of navigating, more accurately, steering a brand new mission. Here are two people that were willing to risk their lives to do something that had never been done before. They literally launched themselves into uncertainty. Their willingness made the mission possible. Their ability to think and act under pressure in a brand new situation and their ingenuity as pioneers was the reason this mission was successful. It's not only what they accomplished that drew me in, but their entire worldview, no pun intended, that inspired me. It's as if Doug and Bob teach us that each of our lives is a pilot project. Each day is a test. Each one of us are test pilots. What is our purpose other than to seize the opportunity and learn something new that will push us to new heights, new experiences, and greater meaning in life? We are all test pilots launching off into uncertainty. Yes, it is scary. We don't know what is beyond the horizon. Every decision is a risk. But we have an opportunity to grow and learn and possibly even reach a moment of great reward or clarity, a time of tremendous joy or victory. That's the reason we begin each day, hopefully with the same mission and drive as Bob and Doug, the SpaceX astronauts. In this week's Torah portion, Parshat Ekev, Deuteronomy chapter 8, we read, "Remember the long way that God has made you travel in the wilderness, that God might test you for the sake of learning what is in your heart." We know by this point that it shouldn't have taken the Israelites 40 years to reach the Promised Land. The route was purposefully circuitous. Each and every step along the way, the Israelites were forced to figure out something new. How to live in a harsh environment with less food and water, how to govern themselves, how to avoid temptation, overcome enemies, remain connected to God, and on and on. Their journey through the wilderness is what prepared them as a nation to enter the Promised Land and fulfill their potential. The Israelites, too, were test pilots launched into uncertainty. They certainly learned what was in their hearts. They discovered their purpose and identity, learned of their legacy, strengthened their connection to God. So I guess this makes Abraham the first test pilot, the first one who answered God's Lech Lecha when he said, "Sure, I'll go into the unknown." So we come from a pedigree of test pilots. We know how to be test pilots. We already are test pilots. Doug and Bob's mission has been called a historic test flight. In fact, the official name of the mission was Demo 2, because its purpose was to be exactly that, a trial. And it gives me great comfort to view this time of pandemic in the same way. Have any of us ever been through this before? Can we ask for anything more of ourselves rather than to do our best navigating the unknown each and every day? Perhaps our biggest challenge is staying true to who we really are, following our moral compass, our true north. We must not launch ourselves aimlessly or feel like we have no footing or gravity. Really, we have much to be grounded upon. Instead of fear and uncertainty, Let us set our sights on learning, growth, and the unending search for joy and meaning. At TBE, I've learned about this philosophy of running a pilot program. For we as a community and a staff team embrace a culture of experimentation. I have learned from the greatest leaders in our community, you can't fail if something is meant to be a test. Not if we are clear on our goals and our underlying values. What's the worst we can do? Learn. It's not a failure if we learn something. A pilot project is meant specifically to propel us forward. In fact, in their interview just moments after standing up on American soil for the first time in months, Bob and Doug explained that they thought of their mission not as a flight with a destination, but as a movement. They were inspired to take part in something that would move our space program forward, to take part in a movement that might help us explore life on the moon and on another planet. They knew that every action they took would not be scrutinized, but studied. And there's a difference. Everything they did would be celebrated as a learning opportunity. For often, you can't learn if you don't test the limits. And that's what we learn in this week's Torah portion too. Life is an experiment. God did not mean for us to have all of the answers. We are not all-knowing. We were created to discover the unknown. We can only uncover greater understanding and meaning if we embrace the risk and accept the mission. And so I want to thank NASA astronauts Doug Hurley and Bob Benkin for reminding us of our sacred mission on this earth to be test pilots. Now let us do what they have done so courageously. Buckle up and embrace this crazy, scary, but wondrous ride. Shabbat Shalom.
At 8 years old, with a flour sack cape tied all around his neck, he climbed up on the garage. He's figuring what the heck. Well, he screwed his courage up so tight that the whole thing come unwound. Got a running start and bless his heart, he's headed for the ground. Well, he's one of those who knows that life is just a leap of faith. Spread your arms and hold your breath, always trust your cape. Now he's all grown up with a flour sack cape tied all around his dream. And he's full of spit and vinegar, and he's busting at the seam. Well, he licked his finger and he checked the wind. It's gonna be do or die. And he wasn't scared of nothing, no. He was pretty sure he could fly. Well, he's one of those who knows that life is just a leap of faith. Spread your arms and hold your breath, always trust your cape. Now he's old and gray with a flour sack cape tied all around his head. And he's still jumping off the garage and will be until he's dead. Well, all these years the people said he was acting like a kid. And he did not know he could not fly, so he did. Ani ma'amin be'emunah shlema b'kriyah HaMashiach ve'af al pi she'yitmameha im kol ze achake lo bechol yom she'yavo. Well, he's one of those who knows that life is just a leap of faith. Spread your arms and hold your breath, always trust your cape. Well, Well, he's one of those who knows that life is just a leap of faith. So spread your arms and hold your breath. Always trust your cape.
Ryan, thank you for blending the contemporary with the words of our tradition, Ani Ma'amin. Who composed that song?
Guy Clark.
Thank you. Yasher Koach. Let us now turn to Words of Mourner's Kaddish. We're going to once again open up the chat room so that people can type in the names of those individuals they're remembering. And as they do, let me mention the names of all of those members or relatives of members of the congregation who have passed away during the past 30 days. Lawrence Bean, Michael Buckman, David Goldberg, Ellie Hammerling, Stephen Ives, Stephen Lander, Edward Levine, Robert Remus, and Jean Rosenberg. I've also been asked to recite the names of Israel Diener, William Eisen, Bill Eisen, Suzanne Finkelman, Melvin Foster, Sylvia Kleeman, David Moffinson, Sylvia Rosenberg, and Leo Rosenberg. And I invite anyone here who's a mourner in our midst, meaning if you're observing a yahrzeit this week or have lost a parent during the past 11 months or an immediate family member during the past 30 days, so please rise at this time or raise your hand so that we can acknowledge you as mourners in our midst. And let's visually notice the mourners in our midst and send them our love and our comfort as they join together in these words as we place them on the screen. And so if you'll join me, Yitgadal v'yitgadash Shemei Rabbah, v'yamad vivrach ruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, v'chayachon uv'yomechon uv'chayeh d'chol Beit Yisrael, v'agalav izman kariv imru amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah m'vrach le'alam olamei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shemei d'kudusha b'richu, le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechamata, da'amiran b'yama v'imru amen. Yehei Shlama Rabbah min Shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen, oseh shalom b'mromav. Hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen.
Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
So announcements, I know we've had a lot of learning and we're heading into Elul and a new summer program of learning. So Rabbi Sherman?
Still going, and there's so much to do and learn. This week we have Torah study tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, and every day this week we have something to engage. On Monday night, a film called comedy Tel Aviv on Fire. We're going to have a film conversation. There's T-Bell, a conversation about Israel. On Wednesday, we're going to conclude our Heschel course. And on Thursday night, I hope you'll consider joining the Racial Justice Initiative as they're screening a film called America Divided, House Divided, a film exploring housing inequity, specifically in New York City, but all around our country as well. And please be on the lookout for our Elul learnings as we prepare for the High Holy Days that are coming soon.
Rabbi Sapphire, anything?
The only thing I want to add is that our parking lot Havdalahs and gatherings will continue when we get closer to the fall. So I just want to make sure that everyone noted that.
So in a couple of weeks, you'll receive a mailing about the High Holy Days. We are very busy planning a beautiful High Holy Day season. So please continue to check your emails and the website. Let us conclude now tonight with Kiddush and Motzi. And so if you do have a Kiddush cup close by, we invite you to raise it in the air. Cantor Zell.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu. Zikaron למעשה וראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
L'chaim. Take a sip. And if you have a challah close by, let's see your challah. And I know that Rabbi Sapphire and Cantor Zell are about to head off on vacation, so I just want to wish you a restful week. Who's going to lead us? Sapphire family, you want to unmute yourselves?
Ready? Baruch
Amen. Take a bite, and now if we can unmute everyone, we'll wish each other Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Everybody else that I know. And my grandson.
Ozzy.
You did it?
Which with a beard?
David. Family. I knew it had to come. Them later and have to see all the time. So, I mean, I just used it. Well, actually, they're on vacation.
Sarah
now,
Weiss.
so.
Okay.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Good to see you all.
Are you volunteering?
Great. Everyone was great.
Doing the camera. Doing the kids.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Masha.
Shalom, Elsie and Molly.
Obviously, she went to Colorado.
This is
We give up for you to keep waving to everyone.
I know the name. Who's Belsky?
Whatever.
Saying hi. I was wondering who was in the chat.
Nancy
Hi, Ella.
Where's Alana?
I have no idea. You know as much as I do right now on that subject.
The entire time, right?
Sure, discussions, we'll be having discussions next week.
Hi, Julie Belsky.
Hi, Julie Belsky.
Hi,
Julie Belsky.
Happy birthday, Mom.
Julie Belsky.
Hi, Suzanne Posner.
Hello, Edna.
You know my daughter, she's quick to get on
Julie,
the
can I-
plane, so
Julie,
they
can
are
I have a
going to
challah?
pack their tent.
Okay.
They're going to camp. They're going to the hotel.
Goodbye.
They're going to campground.
Shabbat Shalom. Hi, Julie.
Zoom.
Well, that's the way they do things.
Wait.
Hi, Eva.
Oh, my sister's calling. Let me call you back. Okay? Bye.
Okay. Hi, Julie.
Hi, Mom.
Hello. You didn't. Thanks. When you didn't answer me, I figured you were with Dan. I was just hoping.
Buddy.
Hi, Julie Bell.
Hey, Mom. Who's there?
Just Scotty and me.
Shabbat shalom, Julie.
Hi, Shabbat. Bud.
Hi, Bud.
Hi, Nis.
Can't see you. Where are you? Oh, hi, Bud. Hey, Julie, that looks like good challah.